One mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One mic with Big Mike.
Ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host,
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Welcome in to a Wednesday edition of One Mic with Big Mike. After a day off, coming back for this hump day. Absolutely, trying to help you get over this hump. Well, I guess if you're listening to me live right now on Spreaker, you're pretty much over the hump. It's about 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Once again, appreciate everyone for joining me, everyone who's joining me live, everyone who's clicked and downloaded and streamed the podcast. I definitely appreciate that. Don't forget, Spreaker.com is where I'm being heard. Also, the Spreaker app for all of your mobile devices. Also, make sure you guys follow me on Spreaker by signing up for your free, absolutely free Spreaker account. That's SPREAKER.com. Or by going to the app and doing the same thing. It's free, just like Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and all those things. Once you do that, search for my show, the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE, One Mic with Big Mike. Use that as well for Twitter and Instagram. And once you sign up for your free Spreaker account, I'm here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7 p.m. till I get all my thoughts out. Usually till around 9 o'clock, but sometimes, I'll pull the string on it a little bit shorter than that, just based on whether or not I've said everything I had to say. Also, I'm on Facebook, facebook.com/ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE. Just got through having some very interesting back and forth with some people on Facebook. It's probably my first time really doing that today, and I don't know how many more times I'm going to find myself doing that. It's kind of weird, the type of stuff that people post and talk about, and yeah, as weird as I already am, I don't need any more weirdness added to my situation around here. What else do I need to get you guys to know about? Don't forget, you guys got until next Saturday at game time as far as NFL football goes. I think the first game, is it at 4? Whatever time the first game is on Saturday, 4, whatever. You have it up until that time to mention me in a tweet that predicts, in which you predict this year's Super Bowl winner. Once you do that, I will take the winner, obviously following Super Bowl, maybe a couple of winners, and give you guys some brand new era or Mitchell and Ness snapback hats, man, just on me, just to show my appreciation, try to, give back a little bit, give back to the people who give their time to listening to this show that I've tried to put together here. Also, let me make sure I mention that if there are an abundance of people who, let's say, pick the Steelers to win and the Steelers win, I'll just put the names in a hat and draw them out randomly, and you'll get like a DM from me. You must be following me, of course, on Twitter and Instagram and Spreaker and Facebook as well. You got to be following me, but once I do that, I'll yank a couple names out and get your information and ship you out some brand new hats. I'll even let you guys, based on which order I pick them in, I'll send you guys pictures. I'll post pictures of the hats so you guys can choose which one you want based on the order in which I reach out to you or whatnot. First come, first serve, of course. I'm glad to see yesterday something I mentioned Monday, the Flint, Michigan situation with the water, the lead being in the water that they decided to use based on saving money. If there's anything I want to spend money on, cuz it's clean water. But they decided to go the cheap route when it came to the people's water in Flint, Michigan. And I mentioned on Monday that I hadn't really seen any social media traffic based on it or whatnot. But on yesterday, yeah, it came to pass, and people, I saw people mentioning it and talking about it and raising their concerns about it, mentioning that apparently they knew for a year that the people's water was contaminated with lead. And like I mentioned on Monday, it's a lot worse scenario than, it's really worse than the police violence that everyone's protesting about and everyone's so appalled about, and rightfully so. But this lead situation, as the doctors explain, affects generations of people. You know what I mean? Through like birth defects, disease, even criminality. You know, they've linked lead intake to people turning to crime. So, you know, there's that. And, you know, I'm going to stand on the premise that you wouldn't see this kind of foolishness happen in, you know, Brookhaven or, you know, these I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. If you're listening anywhere else in the country or in the world, I should say, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia right now. In some of the more affluent parts like the Alpharettas and the Johns Creeks, you wouldn't see this foolishness up there. But in Flint, Michigan, where it's a bunch of minorities and poor people, of course, they don't need clean water. They're poor. All right. It's all good. Another, I don't even know if it's sad news, to be honest with you. You know, one of my partners, my former co-host, Rob Calloway, sent me a text today. And he was like, you know, it's messed up to see Lawrence Phillips, former Nebraska, former first-round pick of the St. Louis Rams. Oddly, they're in the news for other reasons today as well. You know, he's been serving a 31-year sentence, man, for some crimes he committed, some domestic abuse, some running down some kids with his car. And a couple months ago, his cellmate, a guy that he knew, I guess maybe ironically, a cousin of another former NFL player, a guy named R.J. Sowers, his cousin, ended up found dead in Lawrence Phillips' cell. They were cellmates together, and he was going to be brought up on charges in which he could have faced the death penalty. And then today they found him in the cell dead. Weird situation, man. Weird situation. This is a story that I've been following since the beginning, since, you know, even to the point where I started reading up on some of those Nebraska teams. Like, it's funny, like those 30 for 30s, they show us all this bad stuff that went on at the University of Miami and the U and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, check out Nebraska. Just check out that history with Tom Osborne. That dude was elected to public office. And that team was, if you want to, I'm doing air quotes, was quote unquote just as thuggy as that Miami squad. You look at the kind of stuff, women beating, guys going to jail, punching cats out. Yeah, because you know why? He wanted to win. And he did. They won for a long time. But when you get a dude from like Southern California to Nebraska, yeah, there's some other stuff going on. I continuously say that. You know, you get a kid from Miami to go to West Virginia. Really? How? How's that going out? But another story for another day. But the Lawrence Phillips situation, I guess you could say it's over now, man. He's dead. And my comment to Rob was like, the most surprising thing, if you know this kid's past, and it's something that I've read up on extensively for the last year or so, man. If you know his past and some of the other things that he's dealt with, not just the football field stuff, because that was well documented. The fact that this really isn't a surprise is the biggest surprise. You know, like Lawrence Phillips killed himself, or he's suspected of killing himself. There's some things that have to be obviously figured out and worked out before you can officially make that determination. But found him in a cell dead, and you know, you hear that and you say, it's almost like watching the Titanic, the movie. Like, you know how it's going to end. You know what I mean? You just know how that situation is going to unfold in front of you. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up right now. I'm not going to get into this anymore during the show. So, TMZ Sports reached out to his biological mother. She's saying that she knows for a fact that he wouldn't do that. That's a quote unquote. That's a quote. I know for a fact he wouldn't do that. Tanisa Murdoch. She's a part of the family that took Lawrence in when he was a youngster, and got him on that path that took him to the University of Nebraska. She says as well, quote unquote, I know him well enough to know he wouldn't commit suicide. So basically, if you're saying that, you're basically intimating that there was some improprieties within the jail system, within the Kern Valley State Prison. She says, quote, I asked the coroner for information about his body, and she was very unhelpful, end quote. She goes on to say that she was told that Lawrence was found with a note, but the officials wouldn't reveal what it said. So I'm not like the normal, like the stock answer or stock statements and stuff like this is like, oh, very sad story in the world. I don't know how sad I am. I don't know Lawrence Phillips. I knew him as a football player, a great college football player who was very, very troubled when it was all said and done. And now that his life has come to an end, I can't fake like I'm surprised. Like, oh, that's how it ended for him, because I didn't think he was going to end. It was going to end with him being some sort of a monk or something like that. Nah, you plant apple seeds, you can't expect to grow asparagus, man. It's just what it is. And I'm not being cold about it, but his life is over. I don't know whatever people believe in out there, heaven, hell, or whatever. He's gone now. He's not within the within the air of the living any longer, and it's suspected that it was by his own hands. And sometimes the weight. You feel me? The weight of life, man. Everybody ain't got as big a guy as he was, and from everything you read about his stint in jail, that's all he did was work out and read, right? The guards talked about him being a model inmate up until the point where, of course, his cellmate ended up dead, but and him being accused of it. But sometimes, no matter how big you are physically, the weight of life, man, bearing down on anyone, that's ill prepared for it. Yeah, it could affect you in these type of ways. So, obviously it is actually a sad day for his parents, but like for his people, whoever his people are. But I can't say personally that I'm some sad guy about Lawrence Phillips and some of the things that he's gone through, and you kind of seeing it ending up the way it's ended up. Today, guess what else? 1.5 billion in the lotto today. Yeah. I don't understand the people who say, "Nah, I ain't gonna play." Why? Because you already got, like if Warren Buffett was like, "Nah, I'm good." Yeah, you are. You're right, dude. Bow out. Give me extra chances. You know what I mean? But if you just like some working person, how do you justify not saying, you know what, ain't scrape this change out of my little ashtray in the ride and go get in this line real quick and grab me a quick pick right fast? How do you justify that? It's 1.5 billion. That's inconceivable loot, by the way. That's what I term that as. And I always have to tell people what $1 billion is. It is 1,000 million. Put that in perspective. People like Jay-Z, right, are worth $300 million. And you're like, God, $300 million? Yeah, you got to have like 3 more Jay-Z's and then a third of another one to get to $1 billion. You get my drift? Yeah, look, in the last week, I probably done put, it's probably about $80-90 out of this household winning lottery tickets. And as it keeps going up, I can't help myself. I don't normally play until it gets to be about, $400, $300, $200 million. But now it's at $1 billion. And usually when it gets to that point, like $200 million, I'm going to go spend like $2. Yeah, I got to drop a dub on it, cuz I got to get mine. And if I do, I always tell people, if I win that kind of money in the lottery, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to buy a hockey team, bring it back to the hood, and make it like straight work release. Just bruhs. Like people that just got out of jail, I'm going to teach them how to skate. And then we're going to be the expansion team. It's going to be like the Decatur N-words. And it's not even going to be the actual word. It's just going to be N-words. It's going to be the name of the team. Yeah. No sticks involved. We playing every game going to end 0-0 because there's going to be nothing but fights. Nobody's learning how to shoot the puck and all that food. We don't need no skill. Just enough to stay up on the skates, because just a bunch of goons. And that's going to be my hockey team. And I dare anybody to say anything to me. I got $1 billion, cuz. Which really I wouldn't have $1 billion. Because I'm not. Later on in the show, we're going to talk about Mark Cuban and his advice. He's a billionaire. He's giving us broke folks advice on how to handle these lotto riches. We'll talk about it. Speaking of what we'll talk about, right here on One Mic with Big Mike, you guys go ahead and hop on in the chat room and let me know what your thoughts are throughout the evening here. I'll be here at least not at least, at the most till 9 o'clock. I got some stuff I want to get off my chest today, and I know everybody today is talking about, what, the LA move and all this kind of stuff. Not really interested. I live in Atlanta, cuz I don't care. We've seen teams leave out of here twice. 2 hockey teams gone. So, yeah, St. Louis, boo-hoo. As a matter of fact, really all you're doing is giving the team back that you got on loan in the first place. To be honest with you, they came from LA. So if you want to be mad at anybody, be mad at Arizona. They took your team. The St. Louis Cardinals, yeah, that was your squad. Now they're out there in sunny and hot Arizona. And since they've been there, I don't think this happened before they got there, but they get to get next week off. Martin Luther King, or this week, Martin Luther King Day. They get to get that off. Or I guess it is next week, Monday, right? So yeah, things keep on going well for the old Cardinals. All right, back to the show. What we got going on today. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. Follow me on Spreaker with that same exact tag as well. Okay, bottom of the hour, of course, coming back from break, we'll do our daily look back into the annals of sports. We call it on this day. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this Rams move, this approved move from St. Louis to LA, and tell you why it may be a blessing in disguise for St. Louis. I want to talk a little bit more about something that was brought up on Monday, but then the comments began to be more strong. I was watching Colin Cowherd today, and I saw Jason Whitlock on there, and he's like, God, man, he makes it so hard to like who he is as a public figure. I don't know him personally, so I have to like disclaim it that way. I want to talk about how the NFL has changed our sensibilities and things that we once were, we are no more because they told us not to be those things anymore. Not because those things are any different or because they're any worse or better, just because someone told us we should change the way we think. Hugh Jackson. I've been talking a lot about this whole Rooney Rule situation. I'm going to get a little bit deeper into that. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to get into this Rooney Rule situation and how, I read this article today, and it's a very tangible article. And it talks about the mask that is the Rooney Rule, and for some of the exact reasons that I've been mentioning for a long time. Has nothing to do with Stephen A. Smith. That ain't happening. But it's more tangible. It's not just a bunch of people laying out a bunch of screaming loud opinions. Nah, this is real stuff that's been studied by some very, very smart people that I happen to agree with, because even me with my regular, public school education, said a lot of these things beforehand. So we'll talk about Hugh Jackson being hired by the Browns. Good luck, Hugh. And some of the things that come with that, but also this article that digs into why there is such a lack of minority head coaches and coaches in general in a league that's upwards of 80% black men on the field. The disparity is just kind of weird. I want to talk about the injury problem too, going into this divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and the rash of injuries that teams are dealing with, just trying to struggle their way into the Super Bowl. Like right now, it's going to become a game of attrition, more so than it usually is. Just can you stay healthy enough to make it to the big game? One of the Patriots players is in the news. Johnny Bones Jones of UFC fame. I don't know if you guys noticed, but his brother Chandler Jones, big time player for the New England Patriots, found himself in the news in some weird, some old Hangover Part 4 type news. And I'm going to talk about that as well. And I got to give my thoughts on Monday night's championship game, which, obviously came on as I was ending the show. And then, we don't do shows on Tuesday. So today will be my day to give, my quick little synopsis on what I saw. And I was quite frankly, I was very entertained by the ball game as it currently stands. No real local news, man, tonight. Nothing really coming out of Flowery Branch, other than, like I told you guys, I'm gonna keep you guys updated on these mock drafts and who the people who follow drafts and create these mock drafts have the Atlanta Falcons picking in this year's NFL draft. And the Hawks are back in action tonight after a pretty long little layoff. Seemed like they ain't played in a couple days. They're gonna be back today. Kemba Walker and the boys are coming in town to take on Coach Bud's group with the Atlanta Hawks. All right, so I told you guys I want to start with the mask that is the NFL's Rooney Rule, and you want to know why I call it a mask. Well, here's the deal: the Rooney Rule was it came to be, say it that way, it came to be in 2003. At that time, there were 2 head coaches. Something just makes me want to think. I didn't check and see who they were, but something makes me want to just feel like Art Shell was one of them. You know what I mean? Maybe Art Shell and Tony Dungy. You know, that sounds about right, doesn't it? 03? Yeah, that sounds right. And since then, it's culminated, I guess, and peaked at this year with 6. So in the last, let's call it 13 years. Let's call it 12, 13 years. We've gone from 12 to 6 head coaches in the National Football League. And if you listen to guys like Stephen A. Smith, not even guys like, if you listen to Stephen A. Smith, first of all, stop. But if you do, he believes that in 2 years, there will be no black head coaches in the National Football League. And he substantiates that with nothing, by the way. He just, that's my feeling. And no, he actually says that and then follows it up by saying, and that's the facts. Okay. I don't know if he realizes that there is a difference. There's a huge difference between the opinion and the fact, but we'll move on. So Hugh Jackson, after being fired in his last head coaching job with the Oakland Raiders, after 1 year, I mentioned it the other day, the old man, Al Davis, died. They started off strong, had a good start. Who was playing quarterback for them? They ended up getting hurt. I do remember that. Then he traded a first-round pick for Carson Palmer, and now he's getting a lot of credit for that. He's getting this is what the Carson Palmer that we're seeing now is what Hugh Jackson's, what his vision was for this guy. He saw the talent in this dude, and him still having the ability to play at a high level, which is all true. But the other thing that's true is that you can't leave off the resume is the fact that you did give up a third-round pick for Terrell Pryor in the supplemental draft to also play quarterback. So those things happened. All that happened in 1 year, as a matter of fact. Weird, right? So anyway, he ended up being the offensive coordinator for Andy Dalton and Marvin Lewis with the Oakland Raiders, with the Cincinnati Bengals, who just got into that whole deal they got into this weekend with the Steelers, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as the show moves on. And now he is the head coach, the 8th head coach, I believe, in the last 10 years for the Cleveland Browns. And I just saw his press conference, typical press conference. Everybody's excited. Everybody about the newness and the things that are to come and blah, 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 right? But here's the problem. Here's one of the problems with this. It sounds like Hugh Jackson had other opportunities or he was the hot guy, offensive coach. You've seen Andy Dalton grow, AJ Green grow under him. You've seen even guys like AJ McCarron played well, played all right, good enough for them to be in that ball game that maybe they shouldn't have been in the first place because of AJ McCarron, but played decent in the bad weather and all. So he was the hot guy who the 49ers at one point were looking at, a guy who the New York Giants were looking at, but he I don't want to use that word settle, but he ends up with the Browns. And you say, what? And people say, well, the Browns wanted him and he wanted to be wanted. And my point is why not listen? You know what I mean? Because very, very, very rarely does it happen where when you start talking about retreads with head coaches and African American or minorities, that list is very short. It's not a very long list. And it just feels like maybe with the direction that team is going in, I don't know how. I always felt like the person who took that job was somebody who had to settle for it because there is no stability. Rob Chizensky, when he was the hot guy coming out of Cam Newton's rookie year in Carolina, they gave that dude 1 year. Mike Pettin got 2 years, and it's reported that he kind of Hugh Jackson, I'm saying, he kind of dispelled this rumor that before he took the job, he was like, yeah, what's up with the Johnny Manziel thing? I'm not going to have to deal with that, am I? And they was like, nope, he's out. And he was like, okay, I'm in. Now, he kind of said, I've never met Johnny in the press conference, and we'll have to sit down and see what's what, and everybody's going to get a chance. But let's keep it real. Ain't nobody, like Mike Pettin didn't want to mortgage his future along with Johnny Manziel's. That was forced on him. And then it ended up being the thing that cost him his gig, inevitably. Yeah, the fact that you didn't take Teddy Bridgewater and you took Johnny Manziel on some emotion and some he's exciting and all this foolishness. Exciting don't win games and don't play quarterback in the NFL. Yeah, Cam Newton's exciting, but you know what he can also do? Play football well. Same with Russell Wilson. Yeah, it's got to come in a package. All right, so you got Hugh Jackson. And one of the things that people tend to, and fans tend to do, fans tend to downgrade a person for doing something that I think is paramount if you have the opportunity. And that is choosing the right gig. You know, people talk about Phil Jackson. You're like, oh, look at what Phil Jackson had. He had Kobe and Shaq, and then he had Mike and Scotty. You know why he had those people? Because he chose the right gig. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure if that wasn't available, and he had to coach the I don't know who was bad, the Clippers back then. Yeah, okay, maybe, and he probably wouldn't be considered the best coach in NBA history. But he had a choice, and he was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna coach these guys. Bill Belichick was actually hired by the Jets. And the Patriots job was there. He was like, you know what? Change my mind. I'm gonna thank you guys for hiring me and resign all at once, and I'm going up to Foxborough. Yeah, that happened. There's value in choosing the right gig. Now maybe Hugh Jackson did that. Maybe he chose the right gig. You know, but the fact is you're an offensive coordinator. You don't have a quarterback. The New York thing, pretty much you had a quarterback. I don't know what Colin Kaepernick is. He just had surgery. I don't know what he's going to be, but we've seen him play NFL football at a high level. At least there's something on his resume. You going into the situation where there's nobody. Like if you talk about getting rid of Johnny Manziel, which even if you kept him, I would still say you got nobody. But now really you got to draft a kid, and now you're going to be in a situation where, okay, the golf kid from California, Paxton Lynch from Memphis, or the kid Connor Cook from Michigan State. Like, which one of those guys really just blows you out the water? Me neither. You know what I mean? And so you're going to be, with that second pick in the draft, you're going to be handcuffed to one of those kids, and you got to raise that kid up. And then you got the Josh Gordon situation, whether he'll be back or not. The kid Benjamin, he's pretty good. They got a nice little tight end game going on up there. I don't think the Cleveland Browns are as bad a team as people might think. I just think the organization is shot to hell, man. When we get back, I want to talk about. I want to get into this article, and it's a study of why there are so few African American head coaches in the NFL. There's 6 out of 32. When the Rooney Rule kicked off in 2003, there were 2. So I don't know how many that is a year to now, but it's like some decimal point, not even a whole number. You feel me? And this article, like some very, very smart people, and I'm gonna read the list off to you guys of where these people are from, so that you to qualify the article a little bit. And I'm gonna delve into it. I'll do that next. This is One Mic with Big Mike. I'm being heard on Spreaker.com and the Spreaker app. Make sure you guys sign up for your free Spreaker accounts. And once you do that, follow my show. You gotta find it, the number 1 MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. Once you do that, follow me. I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Doing my thing. You guys can jump on in the live interactive chat room. There's a little thought bubble at the bottom of the screen when I'm doing the live thing, and then you guys can just click on that and jump on in the chat room. If you don't get to catch the show live, it's all right, because every show is posted on the Spreaker page. It's also being posted on YouTube as well. Same thing, One Mic with Big Mike. You can just get on there and give it a listen at your leisure. You can download it from Spreaker. You can stream it however you want to You do it. You can also follow me when I'm not here on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1MIC, WITHBIGMIKE, and on Facebook.com/ONEMIC, WITHBIGMIKE. When I get back, we'll do On This Day, and then we'll jump into this article about the lack of African American and minority head coaches in the NFL, even with the Rooney Rule.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school, I learned that I'm ugly and useless. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. In history, I learned that I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends. In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me.
In biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. And in math, I learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today?
The only thing I didn't learn today.
The only thing I didn't learn
is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to One Mic with Big Mike right here on this hump day. Absolutely. Hope you guys are getting on over that hump. If you're at the crib right now listening to me, or if you're in the car, if you got your cell phone jumping or your tablet, I definitely appreciate that. Speaking of where you're listening to me, I'm on Spreaker.com and the Spreaker app. It's like speaker, but with an R in between the P and the E. Make sure you guys follow me there at the number 1MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. And once you do that, you can join the chat room during my show live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7. Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. And on Facebook.com/ONEMIC, WITHBIGMIKE. Don't forget to get your guests in for this year's Super Bowl winner. I'll be picking winners after the Super Bowl. And for your efforts, I'll be sending out some Michelin-S and New Era snapback hats for you guys who enjoy the show. Just make sure you do that via my Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Let me know who you think is going to win Super Bowl 50 this year. Starting the show off, I was talking about a bunch of stuff. Powerball, talking about stuff in Flint, Michigan, but I ended up talking about Hugh Jackson's his hiring by the Cleveland Browns today. And now, after I do On This Day here, I want to talk about how the Rooney Rule, that hurt. The Rooney Rule might just be a mask, man. One of those NFL masks that they do, like, watch us suspend Ray Rice forever and ever because we hate domestic violence. Meanwhile, there's never, ever, ever a mention of Javon Belcher. The kid that they end up finding out had CTE, that killed himself or killed his old lady, drove to the facility and killed himself in front of Romeo Crennel and his boss at the Kansas City Chiefs. Never. You ain't seen no damn uncomfortable PSAs about that. Yeah, another mask, man. Acting like you care about someone you really don't. And that might be what this whole Rooney Rule thing has been for the last 12, 13 years here. we'll figure it out. We'll get into the bones of it, to the nicks and what is it, the nooks and crannies of it. That sounds about right. After we do on this day.
Now, let's take a look back.
On this day. All right, a very short on this day today. Kind of short. On this day in 1962, the great Wilt Chamberlain of the Warriors. This is Warriors, but he was actually the San Francisco Warriors at the time. He scored then a record, NBA record, 73 points versus the Chicago, not Bulls, Packers. Yeah, I'm all full of little historic nuggets for you today. On this day in 1972, former umpire, now housewife. No, this isn't a Caitlyn Jenner situation. Bernice Guerra. She wins her lawsuit against baseball, initiated on March 15, 1971, to be allowed to umpire a baseball game. Now, this falls on the heels of ESPN just announcing today that the young lady who was in all that controversy, as a matter of fact, right here, a dude named Mike Bell criticizing her for being a part of the announcement team in the playoffs last year. Can't think of her name. She has a Hispanic last name, though. Mendoza, maybe? That might be so wrong. God, it might be so wrong. But you guys know who I'm talking about. But anyway, she this falls on the day that ESPN announced that she'll be back next year to do more. And good for her, because I don't know a lot about baseball, but I felt like she did. I felt like I got smarter when I heard her. And this is like, if she was bad, I'd talk about her being bad. You know what I mean? I have no qualms about doing that, because that's part of the whole equality thing, isn't it? That you get criticized equally as well. But I felt like she held her own. You know what I mean? Maybe a little. I know what I did feel like, and I told my guys this. Some of the guys I used to work with, I felt like she may have been a little bit too wordy, but maybe I don't know what her background is as far as broadcasting, but maybe she was a radio person, because I was thinking to myself, if she was on radio, she'd be perfect, because she's very, very descriptive and very, very wordy for baseball, for a radio baseball announcer. But usually in baseball, they kind of let the picture on TV, they let the picture tell the story more so than the actual the people in the booth. But other than that, whatever. And then two, better to have more than less in that situation when your job is to talk. Always better to have more than not enough. On this day in 1982, 8-time stand-up hammering Hank Aaron and the boy Frank Robinson were both elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. On this day in 1986, the NCAA adopted the controversial Proposition 48. Former ball players like myself know it as Prop 48, which set standards for Division I freshman eligibility, which basically meant that it was one of those things where if you didn't quite have the grades to qualify for a full ride at a particular NCAA institution, what they would do was you would still be able to sign a scholarship. You would go, but you weren't eligible to play. You had to actually, earn your way vis-a-vis the classes that you took to get on the football field in college. But that's since been abolished. There's ways around it now. There's certain ways around it, but as an actual proposal, it's no longer in play. On this day in 1991, and the reason it was controversial after the fact is because a lot of minority kids, suffer from not being able to get those scholarships based on that. And then, when those things start happening, that's when you start finding out a lot of the stuff that goes on in high schools with kids just being given grades and things of that nature. On this day in 1999, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, he's been a constant in these days lately. He announced his retirement, but he came back in 2001. So that was one of a couple. On this day in 2005, Major League Baseball adopted a steroid testing policy that suspended first-time offenders for 10 games and randomly tested players all year long. That has also been abolished now. If you get popped the first time, I think it's like 60 games or something like that. 60, then one, it's like 60, then 162, and then for life, when the third strike, you're out type deal. On this day in 2005, the NFL fined Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Randy Moss $10,000 for actually he mimicked mooning the crowd at Green Bay. And you remember when Joe Buck acted so appalled, like, oh my God, I can't believe what just happened. He acted as though like he saw his bare ass or something. And even if he did, like that would the reaction was totally over the top. Much like what we saw this past weekend in this Bengals game. Like, oh, somebody needs to call the cops. I'm feeling in danger. My life is in danger. Nance and Sims and those clowns. we'll get into that as the show moves on. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your Hump Day edition of On This Day. All right, now back to this article I was talking about. I was talking about the hiring of Hugh Jackson and how basically, like, what are we talking about now? Todd Bowles, Mike Tomlin, Marvin Lewis, and now now Hugh Jackson. That's pretty much it as far as the black guys. And you got Ron Rivera, Hispanic in Charlotte, right? But that's it, right? I'm pretty much through all there's 5 minorities, and I'm thinking as I'm talking right now. Oh, I forgot. Jim Caldwell's up in Detroit as well. For now, they got a new GM who I think just met this cat for the first time in life the other day, and we saw what happened in Detroit this past season. Like, everybody's ass got the boot. So Jim Caldwell he's yet holding on, as the old folks say. So yeah, we're at 5 now, right? Lovie Smith got fired, of course, down in Tampa Bay. So we're at 5. But here's the thing when it comes to the Rooney Rule. This is something that I was talking about. And I'm always talking about this to people. It seems like it's always the easy thing to delve into, as I call it, the disease. And no one really ever wants to address the cause of the disease. Now, it's easy to look at why we don't have no black head coaches. You know, I remember when Jesse Jackson came down here to Atlanta, and he was all over the Atlanta Braves for not having no black players on the team at one point. And the first thing I said was like, okay, where'd they get them from, dude? Before you start calling people racist, man, like, where they gonna come from? Give me that. Like, do you know the numbers on black kids playing baseball at lower levels? They're actually historically black schools, you know, the Alcorns Prairie Views and schools like that, who actually fill out their baseball rosters by giving minority scholarships to white boys so that they have enough players. Because, you know, the bros, we don't play baseball, man. It's a very, very, very expensive sport to get into and to play and to travel stuff and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. So that takes me into this article, this ESPN article today. And like before the show, I really know what I'm going to talk about a lot of times, because like, I don't want to do the stuff that I basically listen to sports during the day to know what I don't want to say or don't want to talk about, because I feel like people get inundated with the same old thing. And I promised myself that this would just be something different. This wouldn't be, you know, the same old rigmarole and run around and this, that, and the other that everyone else, you know, puts out there. Because I don't have the same, first of all, I don't have the same restrictions. I don't have no sponsors. Ain't nobody paying the bills on this thing. You know, it's just me right now. And I hopefully, even if after those things are accomplished, I'm still able to do what I do in the way that I do it. The story first appeared in ESPN Magazine's February 8th Super Bowl 50 issue, if you want to check it out for yourself. Like I talked about, the league implemented the Rooney Rule in 2003. At that time, the number of non-white, instead of calling it black, the number of non-white head coaches has grown from 2 to 6 in this past season. So 2003 to 2016, I don't know. You can do the math. Shout out to the boy Matt at Only One Mr. Green on Twitter and Instagram and all those things. He's in the building. And like, Matt always show up when I'm talking about the race stuff. I mean, for some reason he got like a Negro sensor in his brain. Like, yeah, you know what? I think someone's talking about race. Let me chime in. But I'm glad he's here though, because you know he always as sometimes a different perspective than I have. You know, Matt goes hard for the Bruz. I'm a little bit more, you know, I try to like, you know, see both sides of most of these issues when it comes to the race stuff. According to new research from professors, here's the qualifications now. At Georgetown, George Washington, Emory, right here in ATL, Iowa State University. All these universities had people chime in on this. White position coaches and assistants in the NFL are more than twice as likely to be promoted to coordinator than their black counterparts, regardless of their performance, experience, or coaching background. Now, understand what we're talking about now. Now we're not just talking about the disease anymore. We're not talking about the disease of not having black head coaches, that's the obvious. That's the thing that hits you in your head and shows up right away and smacks you in the face, right? But the cause of the disease is, how big is the pool? How many candidates are we talking about versus whites? That's what we're going to get into here. All right. Now, Chris I. Ryder, he's one of the co-authors of the study. He labels it the quote unquote white coach effect. And he says exactly what I'm saying. He says, quote, just focusing at the top is unlikely to affect much change. Right. Because that's what the Rooney Rule does. It talks about forcing owners to sit down and talk to minorities for head coaching jobs, not hiring them, which I said this the other day. I don't think there should be a mandate to hire anyone based on the color of their skin, being they be white or black or Hispanic or Asian or any other ethnicity. Or is it Asian an ethnicity, or is it Chinese and Vietnamese and those types? Is it, because I always tell people, like, Asian also means Indians. In case you didn't know, India is a part of Asia. Get you a globe. Check that out for yourself. So I don't know if I should necessarily mention that in the same context as ethnicity, but you get the point I'm trying to make. But now we're going to delve into that next layer. Not even the next layer of coordinator, but the layer under that when we talk about position coaches. Now, this study tracked the careers of more than 1,200 NFL coaches between 1985 and 2012. See, that's a pretty sizable study group that we're talking about now. They tested a number of factors to see whether they could explain why white coaches, who constitute about 72% of the pool, that's what we're talking about, the amount of people that are available for these positions, why they were more likely to climb in the ranks. All right, according to their research, quarterback coaches are more likely to become head coaches than, say, a wide receiver or running back coaches. Here's the question you need to ask yourself, right? What color are most quarterbacks, right? I'll answer it for you. They're white, right? That being the case, a lot of these guys move on to become quarterback coaches. You very rarely see, like, some, I don't even know if it's rarely. I don't think you ever see, like, some, like Brian Cox. Like, Brian Cox can come in and be your D-line coach, even though Brian Cox played some DN, but he was mainly a linebacker. But Brian Cox ain't going to be your quarterback coach. Most of the time, if you're a former player and you're a quarterback coach, it's because you played quarterback. And most of the people who've played quarterback, especially here in the last, decade, two and before, were white guys. You know what I mean? So if you want to make a correlation there, it's there, right? And then here's this part. Matt, you'll like this. A recent study found that black high school quarterbacks are 39%, damn near 40%, more likely to be asked to switch their positions when they enter college. So that in and of itself, it, for lack of a better word, dilutes the pool. Kids that may have come up in Pop Warner and then in their high school playing quarterback. Perfect example. I'm going to give you this example. A kid from right here from Gainesville, Blake Sims. This is at the time where I was covering high school football in the state of Georgia. This is why I know this story so well. He was recruited by Nick Saban, and everybody knows who Blake Sims was. He was a starting quarterback last year for the now national champion Alabama Crimson Tide. But before that, he had committed to the University of Tennessee when Lane Kiffin was there. Lane Kiffin ended up leaving to take the job at USC, and at that point, Blake Sims had already told Nick Saban, go catch rocks, cuz I'm not playing no damn DB. That ain't happening. Well, Blake Sims ended up pulling his commitment from Tennessee based on Lane Kiffin leaving, and had to kind of crawl back to Nick Saban. And at that point, as we know, he was listed as a quarterback, but Blake Sims played some running back at that joint and everything. And it wasn't until the same guy who he committed to years before ended up getting the offensive coordinator job with Alabama under Nick Saban, did Blake Sims beat out Jake Coker for the starting position last year at the University of Alabama. So things kind of came full circle for that kid. But yeah, even he, not even, but because it's not like he's Cam Newton. But yeah, there's Cam Newton. How Mark Richt wanted that kid to play tight end. Yes, your 2015-16 NFL MVP in the National Football League, Mark stinking Richt, wanted this kid to be a tight end. And he probably would have been a badass tight end. But you know what I like to see him play better? Quarterback. So that's a part of this whole conundrum that so many people have at this time of year every year. Like the black coaches and the minority coaches. I want to quit saying black coaches. That's not what we're talking about. That's not what the Rooney Rule is about. It's about minority coaches getting the opportunity. This is One Mic with Big Mike, being heard on Spreaker.com. Make sure you guys sign up for your free Spreaker accounts via the website or the app itself. You guys can join the chat room like my guy Matt has tonight, and get into the conversation about what we're sitting here talking about, the Rooney Rule, being a mask, basically. It's being one of those things like No Child Left Behind. How that sounds awesome, doesn't it? Until basically you figure out all it means is that you can't be 15 in the seventh grade. They got to pass you to the next grade because you're too damn old, even though you're still dumb and ain't learned a damn thing. Yeah, it all sounds good. You know, the Rooney Rule, it's going to allow more blacks and Hispanics and minorities to interview for these jobs. Now, yeah, that's a good thing because you get the experience of the interview process. Yeah, that's a good thing. But, how many jobs are we talking about? I mean, it's only 32 in the first place. And then, what is there to control let's call them the underlings, the coordinators and the position coaches? So they asked a question in this article, this ESPN article that I'm taking this information from. If you take white and black coaches who oversee the same position, are they equally likely to advance? Well, the answer is hell no. A white coach is 114%. That's like one of those Maury Povich numbers, cause like the chicks on there, like Maury, it's 1,000% that it's his baby, and then next thing you know, she back in the back crying on the couch that plush couch that Maury done put back there because he know what's gonna happen. Because at first in Maury, it wasn't nothing back there. Them bros were just like wailing around and acting stupid on the floor. Maury done hooked them up with a couch that they can crown, and the salty, shame-stained tears can be all over that joint. It says black coaches are less likely to be promoted than white ones, independent of their first position, their current position, their employer, their prior experience, their education, and their age, which means just because they're black. You know what I mean? And like before people start howling out and screaming racism, think about yourself, right? And think about the people that you're most comfortable with. This is why I'm always talking to people about every time something comes up that's racial, it doesn't mean that it's racist. You know what I'm saying? Because, who was it, Martin Luther King? That said the most segregated time in this country is 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. You don't know why? Because you're comfortable around people that look like you. Like looking into your own face is a lot more comfortable than having to learn about somebody else. And I always challenge people, man, find people that are different than you and learn about them and accept them for what they are. Don't try to change them, and don't try to make them feel, especially if you're black, we're good for this one. Trying to make people feel our pain. They can't. You know what I mean? They can't. Accept that. But also be responsible enough and non-emotional enough to explain it to them. And at least if they can't sympathize or if they can't empathize, they can at least sympathize and get an understanding. I had a homeboy at one of the radio stations I used to work at, man, that we used to have these talks late at night while we were working overnight and stuff about, just regular race stuff, man. There's stuff that I think more people, like one day that dude just came out the blue and said, "Hey, Mike, when I get wet, do I smell like a wet dog?" I was like, what the hell? What's going on right now? But it was cool that he felt comfortable enough to ask me that I'd be honest with him. And I was like, look, I've never been a dog owner, but there is a certain aroma that permeates from the body of a young Caucasian once they step from out of the rain. I don't know what the hell it is, but, I guess it just comes with the DNA or whatever. Anyway, we got about 5 minutes left in this hour, so I want to try to get through this as quickly as possible to move on. Matt's talking about corporate America. And then, look, the NFL is just that. Like, it may look different than your job on Sunday, but yeah, it's corporate, especially on this level. It's estimated that it takes 9 years before a white coach has a greater than 50% chance of becoming a coordinator. We're talking about, again, the lower level guys, not the head coach that everyone can see, the guys that people don't know a lot about. It takes 14 years for a non-white coach. Yeah. They put together some numbers as far as economics goes as well. They approximate that over a 20-year span, a white coach is likely to earn over $20 million more than his non-white counterpart because of that 5-year disparity. We getting into like some meat and potatoes now, cuz like that's real tangible stuff. This ain't Stephen A. Smith screaming and hollering, you know what needs to happen? Oh, more black people. All right, name them. Who? You start doing that. I mean, I don't know. It just should be. Well, stop being an idiot. Read. Like, this dude is like a renowned damn journalist and reporter. At one point he was, I should say. Now he's just a damn bad haircut with a loud voice and a bunch of big stupid words. See, the perpetuation of my inoculation, or should I say my intoxication. Yeah, that dude. You know, in Living Color. Y'all know what I'm saying. Herm Edwards chimed in on this. You know, Herm Edwards maybe he was the coach. Maybe it was Herm. Maybe it was Herm and Tony. Or Herm and Art. I still want to say it was Art Shell. I don't give a damn. Maybe it wasn't Tony, but it was Herm and Art Shell. He says, quote unquote, this league is about relationships. Yeah. That's pretty much what life is. You know what I mean? The industry that I was in for over a decade, the radio industry, that's what it's about. Relationships. Like, you can have a good resume and all that kind of stuff, but really, yeah, it's about who you know and who that person knows that can vouch for you. Because you know what happens? Your livelihood is attached to the people you surround yourself with. So it's cool to have all that black pride and I'm going to hire my brother, but is your brother going to look out? At the end of the day, is your brother going to put in the work? I got my homeboy Corey. You know, I think he's doing some work with the Steelers right now. You know, I hadn't heard from him in a while, but he was coaching in Saskatchewan in the CFL. And yeah, he was the head coach, youngest head coach in league history. Put a bunch of people around him that inevitably, from what I understand, they won't do no damn work. And it all fell on him, you know, to where my man's, he's the same age as I am. He got health problems, all that kind of stuff. And you ever heard of a dude that's happy to be fired? You know, yeah, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, you know, is your brother going to, like, look at Leslie Frazier, right? Leslie Frazier got the gig with the Minnesota Vikings. Now, trust me, I'm not putting this blame of what happened with the Vikings on any particular person, but what I'm saying is, you know, Mike Singletary, a dude who couldn't get it done with the 49ers, he was on his staff. I found out today because I had to look up where the hell did Leslie Frazier end up at. Leslie Frazier ended up down in Tampa with Lovie Smith, the guy who Stephen A. Smith went to the wall for as a part of his defensive staff. That same defensive staff that kept getting worse every year. Kept getting better players, like the players kept getting better, but the defense kept getting worse. So you got to ask yourself, man, what is, like, you want to hook your brother up? What is he bringing to the table? Did he put in the work, or is he just black? Was he just born with the qualifications? I don't buy into that whole system that's how it needs to be. Because at the end of the day, whatever color you are, my fam need to eat, cuz. That's the real deal. I would like to. Like, if it came down to it, I'm gonna keep it 100% with you. If it came down to like a black dude and a white dude, and they both had the same work ethic, they were both just as qualified. Yeah, I'm gonna hire my guy. I'm gonna do just what the white boys do. Yeah, no questions asked. And if somebody asked me about it, it may not be legal to say it, so I don't know. But yeah, if asked about it, I'd say it. Yeah, I hired him because he looked like me. You know what I mean? Yeah. And other than that, he's qualified. But it ain't, look, it's going to be he looked like me, comma. And then some more stuff. Not he looked like me, period. Nah, because at the end of the day, Leslie Frazier and Lovie Smith is at the crib. At the damn house right now. Without a gig. Figure that. If it ever come down to me and you, it's going to be you every time, cuz. Every time. Yeah, you're right, Matt. Matt says he saw a report that says being black and looking for a job, it's like being white with a felony. That's absolutely true. Well, the fact that that is reported is absolutely true. There have been studies on that as well. Like, yeah, the color of your skin as a white boy, that's the first thing on your resume. Me, yeah, I might as well be white and have gone to jail. I may even have a better chance of getting the gig, and that's just real talk. Tell you what, we're going to wrap this up on the other side of the break because I got some more stuff I want to get out about this. I didn't think this was going to take me this much, but it's kind of meaty, and I want to make sure we get all the meat off this bone before we move on to, like, silly stuff like the national championship and whatever. You can hear that everywhere you go. You don't hear this everywhere. It's One Mic with Big Mike. Spreaker.com is where I'm being heard. Make sure you guys get your free Spreaker accounts and follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook as well. Twitter and Instagram, the number 1, MIC, WITH, BIG, and on Facebook, my Facebook page is ONE, MIC, WITH, BIG, Like I said, when we get back, I'm going to put a bow on this Rooney Rule situation, and then we'll move on to a couple other things. I want to tell you guys about this lottery stuff as well. It should be a blast. Yeah, it's $1.5 billion, man. By the way, in case you don't know, once again, this is $1,500 million. That's what it is. In case you don't understand the ramifications of what the hell a billion is, it's that. All right, we'll be back.
You must have thrown 1,000 pitches teaching him to hit a home run. Spent countless Saturdays running routes so he could learn to hit an open receiver. You must have thrown 1,000 pitches teaching him to hit a home run. Spent countless Saturdays running routes so he could learn to hit an open receiver. Endless afternoons teaching him how to hit the three-pointer. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit? Teaching boys that all violence against women is wrong is one of the most important things a man can do. Learn how to start the conversation at teachearly.org. Brought to you by Futures Without Violence and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
One Mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One Mic with Big Mike.
Ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One Mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
One Mic. Welcome back. Second hour of the show. Looks like we're going to make it to 9 o'clock today because I got a lot of stuff. Like my boy Dre said, I got a lot of boo-boo on my brain. I gotta get that junk out, man. Of course, make sure you guys are following me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook because I will be giving away those free Michelin S and New Era snapbacks. Just give me your guess for who you think is going to win the Super Bowl 50 coming up in February. You got until Saturday at game time to give me your guess of the remaining teams in the playoffs. And then what I do, I'll see who gets right, and if multiple people have, I'll just put your names all in a hat, draw a couple of them out, Figure out which hat you want. If it's still available, it's yours, and I'll ship it on out to you. Just that easy. But you got to be following me at the number 1 MIC, WITHBIG MIKE on Spreaker, Twitter, and Instagram. And follow like my page on Facebook at facebook.com/ONEMICWITHBIG MIKE. What I think what I'm doing here is I'm kind of exposing the sham that is the Rooney Rule in the NFL. You know, it always, like, certain things sound good, and they may have been brought up with good intention, but unless there's some follow-up on it. There's even an organization, the Fritz Pollard organization. I had to figure out who Fritz Pollard was. He was actually the first black head coach in the NFL, hired by crazy-ass Al Davis. People call him crazy-ass Al Davis, but Al Davis was one of the pioneers of hiring a black man as his head coach, women in the front office, things of that nature, minorities in the front office. So you can call that old man crazy all you want to, and all he did was pick the fastest guy in every draft. But whatever. For a long time, it worked for him. The Raiders were the standard in the NFL as far as winning went at one point for a good part of the '80s, man. So that being what it is, I'm going to get back to this article here. It's an article from ESPN, the magazine, Super Bowl 50 edition. If you guys want to read it in totality, that's not what I'm doing here. I'm just commenting on some of the things that I highlighted in my reading today. I just mentioned the Fritz Pollard alliance. Before I get to that, I'm going to finish up with Herm Edwards' point on your relationships and the people who you know and the people who don't look like you, but still feel like they can trust you with something that all of the NFL owners hold dear to themselves, which is their football teams. Herm says, quote, a lot of guys who are minority coaches that come into the league, after a while, they get discouraged. They realize, quote, I'm going to be a position coach, and I'm okay with that, end quote. If no one in a position of authority gives you the next move, you get stuck. There's a cycle, and it hasn't been broken, end quote. And yeah, this is why we have to talk about the auxiliary things, the things that are surrounding the issue, not the actual issue that's staring you right in the face and screaming at you. You got to do what I always say, zoom out. What are the things around the issue? Think about the guys, think about the lack of assistance, minority assistance in the college ranks, the feeder system to the NFL. Think about the lack of minority coaches that are actually in the NFL right now, a league that, again, is upwards of 80% minority. That's more of the cause of the disease than is the disease. Yeah, you can treat your diabetes, but how about you not eat a whole pack of mini Snickers every day and drink and wash it down with a Mountain Dew energy drink? How about you don't do that to start with? You know what I mean? And get your ass up and do some activities physically at some point. Let's talk about the cause of your disease before we just say, oh, you know what, you got diabetes, you're going to have to take a shot every day for the rest of your life, or you're going to go blind, or somebody's going to have to cut your foot off. Nah. You know what I mean? Let's zoom out a little bit. The diabetes is the coaches not being there and visible and at the head of these football teams. But why? This article goes on to say, if a team really wants more diversity at the top, they must acknowledge the absence at the bottom. That's probably a more eloquent way of saying it than me saying it's diabetes and taking an insulin shot every day or getting your foot cut off. But, different path to the same point, I guess. There were 9 non-white coordinators on defense this season in the NFL, right? But going back to Hugh Jackson, if Jackson goes on, and he has gone on to become the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, that will leave just 2 minorities coaching offensive positions in the NFL. See what I'm saying? The pool is empty. The pool is just too shallow. We got to find a way to fill that up. And what I mentioned the other day was the fact that there is no Rooney Rule for head coaches. Like, once Adam Gase gets the Miami Dolphins job, he can hire whoever the hell he wants to. You know what I mean? Like Chuck, what's his name? What's the dude's name? Tony Sperano just got on with the Vikings under Zimmer. Ken Wisenhunt, who got fired as a head coach for the Tennessee Titans, he's now back. Back in San Diego, or for right now, I guess I should say San Diego, possibly L.A., the Chargers. Let's say it that way. The Chargers with Phillip Rivers and the boys. You know, Mike Shanahan. Yeah, it's just that funny. Mike Shanahan is rising on people's list, the 49ers list of candidates. I think they're going to interview him again. You talk about the definition of a damn retread. It's him, to the point where his damn son is right here in Atlanta as a coordinator. Yeah, think about that. Like, so that's another point. When Herm talks about relationships, a lot of times that relationship is one you were born into. Rob effing Ryan. Him and I've talked in extent about that Ryan thing, that myth that those are good coaches that have won absolutely nothing. Ain't won a damn thing, damn one of them. And for some reason, Rob Ryan feels like the reason that he's not a head coach is because his hair is long. No, it's because you're bad at the job. None of your defenses are worth crap, from Oakland to Cleveland to the Saints. You had one decent year, the year after they were the worst defense in the history of the NFL. Yeah, guess what? There is no way to go but up. Nowhere. Yeah, you're awful at your gig, cuz. But guess what? He's brothers with a head coach. And now he's some sort of defensive coach and assistant head coach or something like that, which, by the way, and now, you know what? I ain't even check on this. They have a defensive coordinator. And I didn't check to see if he was a black guy. You know what I mean? But if he is, that's kind of foul. Like, I just, in my mind, I'm thinking I saw a picture while I was reading that article of a black guy that's their defensive coordinator. And it's like, okay, if he's here to do this, what the hell am I here for then? See? Problem. That is the bag of mini Snickers right there. The problem. You can hire your fam or somebody that you're good with, even if they're bad at the job, because you've gotten the head coaching job like Rob Ryan has, or Rex Ryan, has. I don't know how you fix it, man. What I do know is it's not about getting on a TV show and screaming and hollering that ain't enough brothers in head coaching positions without offering up. Like, because everybody know, I say this to my old lady all the time, everybody know the damn problem. And if that's you, I don't care what you got to say. I need answers, cuz. Like, give me some plausible answers. Give me some names of some guys that are qualified. Here are some guys. Now that I mention that, because I'm gonna wrap this up in a minute. Vance Joseph. He just got hired by, just mentioned Adam Gase. He just got hired by Adam Gase down in Miami to become the defensive coordinator. Again, your relationship. This guy's been linked to Adam Gase for a while now. He's been a position coach, and now he's moving on up the ranks as a defensive coordinator. They do well down there with the talent that they have. If they're able to do well, you know, you'll start hearing his name. But just like anything else, man, it's a slow grind, man. You know, it's a slow grind, and like if what Herm Edwards is saying, that guys just get discouraged, you know, I can't say don't, because I know it's hard. You know, if you sat around, and I've been in those positions before, and I'm sure a lot of people have. You sit around and you see guys that are less qualified than you are, continuing to progress and move forward within whatever industry that you work in. Yeah, it is frustrating. It is. But what you gonna do? You know what I did? I just do my own thing. I'm my own boss. You know what I mean? And someone instructed me in that way over a decade ago. You know, get your own thing. So this radio thing, you don't have to depend on nobody. So when your time comes, if you got to walk away, or if you got to say no to something, or if they fire you, you ain't got to be hungry. You know what I mean? And I took that advice to heart, and I did, which allows me more freedom. So it's a little bit more headache because I do deal with my people. I do that. You know what I mean? But for what it's worth, I wouldn't trade it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't trade it, man. But, you know, everybody ain't that fortunate. So what do you do in that situation? I was telling my father-in-law the other day we was talking about politics, and we was talking about, black people in politics and getting things changed. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these people who get to these positions in politics, you kind of just go along to get along. You know what I mean? Because at some point you owe somebody, and that somebody probably don't look like you. It's the real deal in that industry. Matt says, yeah, Matt, you're right. And that's my other thing about Stephen A. Smith, too. I'm glad you mentioned that. He says we can't be average. And he's talking about like black people in the workplace. We can't be average. And here's the thing. That's something that's been preached to me since I was a kid. And so when Stephen A. Smith just gets mad because someone isn't given an opportunity, the fact of the matter is that's the reality. That's our reality. You know what I mean? That I have to work twice as hard as you to get the same benefits as you, as a white man in America. It's just real, man. It just ain't me, trying to make race my platform, but it's real. You know what I mean? And for right now, it's going to be that way. For the last, 400 years in this country, it's been that way. Now, slowly but surely, things tend to turn for the better in some situations. But if you look at the black community, people wonder why certain things are like that whole thing about LeBron not speaking out on that kid Tamir Rice. Look, man, I understand that there's always been a systematic approach to things like that, and it's called divide and conquer. You know what I mean? When you pit the lighter, fairer skinned slaves against the darker, more workman like slaves. Yeah, all that's to secure your product, to secure that things stay the same. So ain't nobody planning no upheaval without you knowing about it. Same thing with like LeBron and Kobe and these guys. They got to make sure it's safe before they step out into that realm of criticizing something or speaking on something. Nike just gave that dude like $500 million. You think he's trying to blow that? I know I wouldn't be. Not for y'all. Who? Come on, man. But nobody don't see it that way. Like these people talking about this lottery tonight and all these NBA ballers and these professional athletes playing it. And like, I hope if they win, they start giving it away. Why? Why? You wouldn't? Man, stop. Y'all gonna get out of people's business, man. That's all that is. Y'all just gonna get out of people's business. Moving on here. This is One Mike with Big Mike. Where are we at? I've kind of lost myself in the racial tension of the show tonight. Anyway, the NFL. Going back to this, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about this whole thing that happened on Saturday with the Bengals and the Steelers as well. But something that I wanted to mention on Monday, coming back, from the weekend, all these damn injuries that are going on right now. We didn't get to see Andy Dalton play in this playoff game. We got to see a bunch of bad quarterbacks, to be honest with you. Backup guys who, like Kirk Cousins, backup quality, I guess. Brian Hoyer. And they ain't never had no quarterback, so can't blame that on nobody's injury, except for his. He's been concussed a couple times. But look at this. Like, Big Ben got the shoulder situation going on. Antonio Brown's in concussion protocol. Pat Man saying that what did he say? He'll apologize if Antonio Brown doesn't play, because Pat Man said that he was faking on the field last week. Jeremy Maclin got high ankle sprain. You got Jonathan Stewart. He's still battling that foot. They expect him to play, but still, he banged up. Marshawn Lynch was going to play last week, but, he had hernia surgery, so about to get on the plane, he was like, nah, boss, can't even do it. That's my Marshawn Lynch impersonation. Tom Brady, he got a ankle or something. Julian Edelman coming back off a foot. Devontae Adams, the kid from the damn the damn Green Bay Packers, he got like a knee situation with an MCL. And this clown Roger Goodell talking about going to 18 games. Come on, son. You messing with me now? First of all, you want me to watch these crap Thursday games when dudes ain't even recovered from the weekend, but now you trying to add 2 more without more people on the roster? Come on, man. I'm not trying to see a whole bunch of AJ McCarron and all that. I'm not trying to do that. Big Ben, one arm, and all that. No, I want to see the best, the very best that can be offered. Even if it's 14 games, if it's 14 of a complete roster of the best that the NFL has to offer, I'm all with it. I ain't trying to look at Fozzie Whitaker. Hey, he might be all right, but come on, cuz. Really? Anyway, now to Saturday. Like, the backlash to what happened on Saturday is ridiculous to me. And I said this during the game. I tweeted it during the game. That it's so amazing how the NFL has brainwashed its fan base and gotten you guys to change your sensibilities. You know what I mean? Because so many of you were what? You remember when you guys were like, oh, man, the game getting so damn soft, man, they might as well put these dudes in panties. Yeah, now what you doing now? Oh, my God, look at that. That hit was horrendous. I want to vomit in my mouth. Come on, no, you don't. Because the same one that would have happened like 8 years ago. You know, like, okay, the Vontaze Burfict thing was like, he was late on it. But it wasn't really that egregious. Like, I've seen a lot worse. You know what I mean? And at one point, those things were celebrated. You remember? You got jacked up. You remember all that? Yeah, it was celebrated. But now, you got Jim Nance and Phil Simms acting like somebody should have called the damn police the other day. Let me ask you something. Like Vontaze Burfict, Vontaze Burfict got 3 games for the hit on Antonio Brown, right? And they says because he's a repeat offender. Did you see that dude? Like when he took his helmet off, did you see him? Does he look like the kind of cat that gives even one, you know what, one FU? Nah, he doesn't. Yeah, and that's just like you want to talk about how the NFL. Like what did that kid say? That one of those dudes from the Bengals, Wentworth, the big tackle. He's talking about how the NFL is built on respect for your fellow man and all this garbage. No, it ain't. It's built on violence. And it's built on these gladiators. That's why you hear like Ray Lewis and these dudes talking about we going to war and it's about to be a 60-minute war and a battle and all these kind of my soldiers. Yeah, they speak in those terms because that's the mindset that they're in. You know, it's almost like one of those kill or be killed things. And now because there's so much money involved and because the NFL has inundated you with all this garbage that they can prevent long-term head trauma or brain disease, they can't. It's football. Like, even if, check this out, even if, and I'm ashamed of some of you guys, y'all didn't go out and see Concussion. Hopefully when it comes out on DVD or Blu-ray and all those things and on cable and on demand, you guys check out Concussion because it's a very, very eye-opening movie. It ain't gory or any of that type of stuff, but it's eye-opening and it's educational. You know, and I know, Stepdads is probably funny as hell and all this kind of stuff, but that's sometimes, feed your brain, man. You know what I mean? Feed your brain with more than that. Y'all went out and saw Alvin and the Chipmunks. Really? Like, how many different storylines can there be out of some talking chipmunks? But anyway, the Concussion movie, it brings to light a lot of the things that we don't see. Like, he's talking about Mike Webster playing center, right? And at that position, he's talking about this dude might have had like 70,000 hits to the head over a career. Now this isn't the Vontaze Burfict thing or like Brandon Merriweather like just launching himself at a dude on a one shot or like what happened to what was the kid Julian Edelman or was it Amendola, one of those white boys from the Patriots in the Super Bowl last year. This ain't that. And the thing that the NFL wants you to not know is that we're not even talking about the actual concussions that force people out of the game. They call them subconcussive blows. It's that repeated boom, 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 boom that you go through in practice, you go through in the game over and over and over. Those are the things that build up that calcium that manifests itself as chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Encephalopathy? Yes, CTE. But what they want to tell you is that, no, we're gonna legislate these big hits out of the game, and that's going to do it. No. Second of all, I keep telling y'all, that lawsuit ain't about that. The lawsuit is about the fact that the NFL had the information to give to these players, to educate their players, and chose the money over that and said, nah, we're not going to tell them. We're going to tell them that there is no long-term damage that could come from from repeated blows to your brain. Fine. Fine. In this article, what is this? This is a Deadspin article that I have from Paul Daugherty. He's like speaking a bunch of foolishness about how the play because people celebrate. The celebrations have turned football into this selfish thing, and what did he say? Selfishness is off of its leash. Celebration of self knows no bounds. I'm entitled to do what I want. I don't care about you. I care about me. You know what's funny about this? And you may see this as a fair comparison or not. I don't really care. But I was waiting for somebody to do that. You remember those kids, those white kids from the University of Monmouth that were doing all those funky, crazy celebrations on the sideline, on their bench when their team did something good, right? And everyone thought that was so adorable and cute. And I thought it was funny, too. I thought it was funny and creative and all those kind of things. But you know what else I like? I like when NFL players score and they dance and they get a sack and they dance. I don't think that takes away from the game at all. But some kind of way, in Paul Daugherty's opinion, it's different. It's different for somebody to make a big sack and get up excited. And I always point to the fact that I'm not the guy who says, if you never played, don't talk about it. No, because guess what? You can see. You got eyes. You know what I mean? Your eyes work, and if you can see what's going on, you can talk about what's going on in the game. But the one thing you can't talk about is what it takes to play football. I tell people all the time that football is the most unnatural sport that there is. You're basically telling yourself you're actually competing against your best instinct. You know what I mean? It's in nature. If something's running at you or coming at you, somebody's driving a car at you, if you can, you're going to move. You're not going to try to stop the damn car with your body. But in football, that's the natural instinct that you have to fight against. This 230-pound Adrian Peterson that's like a 0.5% body fat is running full speed downhill at me. And the only way to get him to not do that anymore is to throw my own body in front of it. Yeah, you got to be on a different level mentally for those 60 minutes to do that. So when I see Vontaze Burfict going crazy and out of his damn mind, I don't mind. You know what I mean? I see Ray Lewis and those boys, Terrell Suggs going bananas. Cool. You know what I mean? But for someone who's only reporting on that, it looks funny. And it looks different, especially when you see a bunch of big, overgrown, probably HGH'd up black dudes doing it. It's a whole lot different. Now, it's probably different when you see Clay Matthews do it. Why? Because you're looking at yourself. You know what I mean? You're not looking at the dude that if you saw him do that while you were walking down the street with your girlfriend, you try to run to the other side of the street. If I can just keep it real one time. Yeah. And again, it's not about calling Paul Daugherty a racist. I don't know that dude. But I can't say there's a racial element in those comments. There's a racial perspective that he just don't get and never will. You know, most of these dudes are young, rich, black dudes. A lot of them ain't from the best environments. You know what I mean? And a lot of them have always used football as an emotional escape. The reason that you see Vontaze Burfict on a football field and not with a striped or orange jumpsuit on is because he was able to play football and allow all that frustration to escape. That's the reality. You know what I mean? What does Daugherty say? This stuff is an epidemic. Come on, man. Get over yourself. You know, Andrew Whitworth, quote, this league has been about the ability to shake hands afterwards. This year has been a year you've seen a lot of a lack of respect. Like, that's the other thing, too. I hate that. The fact that somebody feels like I should be obligated to shake hands with you after a game? Nah. Why? Because it shows kids something? Whatever, man. If you want to teach your kids something, you ain't got to use somebody else. Be a damn parent. You want to teach your kids about sportsmanship? Teach them about it. What you looking at? What you looking for Cam Newton to do it for? That ain't your kid. He got his own damn kid. Yeah, miss me with all that. Like, if that's the world that you live in, that, you know, Kobe Bryant or LeBron James is raising your kid, you're a bad parent. You get an F in parenting. All the way. Because those dudes is skin and bones like the rest of us. So the first time somebody get locked up and your kid is heartbroken and crushed, that's an indictment on you as a damn parent. My kid should just be like, oh, that sucks for him. It sucks that I can't watch this dude drop 30 on people no more, but damn. Yeah, everybody, man, everybody's subject to the ridicules and the persecutions of life, man. Ain't nobody exempt. Some people may be able to skate by because they got, the financial means to do so, but at the end of the day, it catches up to you. Dr. Huxtable. It's One Mic with Big Mike. I got about 30 minutes left in today's episode, and I'll wrap that up here. On the other side of a break, don't forget to follow me on Spreaker. Sign up for your free Spreaker account and follow my show. The number 1, MICWITHBIGMIKE. Use that handle for Twitter and Instagram as well. As far as Facebook goes, make sure you guys are following me or liking my Facebook page, facebook.com/ONEMIC. WITHBIGMIKE. We'll be back. I'm going to wrap up, give you my quick thoughts on the national championship game, and we'll talk a little bit more about, some of the other things that's going on in the world of sports today that have caught my attention. I'll be right back.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese.
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You must have thrown 1,000 pitches teaching him to hit a home run. Spent countless Saturdays running routes so he could learn to hit an open receiver. Endless afternoons teaching him how to hit the three-pointer. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit? Teaching boys that all violence against women is wrong is one of the most important things a man can do. Learn how to start the conversation at teachearly.org. Brought to you by Futures Without Violence and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. One Mic with Big Mike. About 28 more minutes left in tonight's show. Appreciate everybody for joining us. Appreciate my guy Matt for hanging out in the chat room and giving me some back and forth tonight. You know what I said I was going to do, and I need to make sure I do it because I'll forget. 2 things. I'm going to talk about this Mark Cuban situation on what the billionaire owner of the Dallas Mavericks says you guys should do, or damn you guys, what I should do with my $1.5 billion in lottery winnings after I hit these numbers tonight. And I'll let you guys determine for yourself whether he's an idiot or if he's on the money. This is One Mic with Big Mike. Like I said, about another 28 minutes or so to go in today's episode. Don't forget, I'm on Spreaker.com every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday starting at 7 p.m. Also, when I'm not here, I'm on Twitter at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE and on Facebook at ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE. One Mic with Big Mike. Make sure you guys are following me now because I'm giving away some New Era snapbacks and some Mitchell & Ness snapbacks as well. Just for you guessing, send me your guess via Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. Make sure you're following me on Spreaker, Twitter, Facebook, as well, and Instagram. And send me your guess for who you think is going to win this year's Super Bowl. You got until the end of the start of game time on Saturday to get your submissions in. And what I'll do, I'll pick a few names of the correct answer and ship you guys out. I'll get your information from you, of course, and ship you guys out a couple of hats. I keep saying I'm going to post a picture of the hats. I posted a picture of a couple of them attached to my logo, but the other few of them are still I'm looking around the room. They're in boxes still. I haven't even pulled them out the boxes yet. I know what they look like, so Maybe because I just don't want to tempt myself. That's probably what it is. Let's start with the Chandler Jones thing. Let's wrap up the whole NFL thing. So Chandler Jones, brother of John Bones Jones, found himself in a real precarious situation the other day. He actually walked into the police station looking for help because he was having a reaction to a substance that he had taken in or ingested or however you want to term it, right? Are the Hawks getting pushed in by the Charlotte Hornets? Huh. Look at that. That's weird looking. Anyway, so he walks, and I was wondering, like, all right, he walked into, what the hell happened to his car? Like, but apparently the house is not really that far away from the police station. He went looking for help. He ended up getting admitted to the hospital. There are some recordings of the police saying, you know, I took him back home, I found his keys and locked the door and all this kind of stuff. They basically took care of him, didn't take his black ass to jail. You wonder, like, okay, is that like a normal occurrence? And because that's old school. You know, the police used to look out for athletes back in the day. Now they're trying to get famous too, like everybody else. You know, they want to be the one who locked up Jamal Anderson. Speaking of, he just pled guilty today for the drunk driving incident, one of many. But the latest one in November, he just pled guilty, and apparently he won't be serving any jail time for that. So, way to show him, way to kick the system's ass there, Jam. So yeah, Chandler Jones ends up in the hospital. He didn't miss any practice time though, so obviously no one cares. But you know, people in the media got a hold of what had happened, and I don't think they're more so pointing to him to figure out what the hell happened to him. They're trying to figure out, like, how the hell wasn't this reported? You know, this dude is an NFL football player, and he walks into a police station apparently high or aloof or loopy on whatever, and no one says anything. So it kind of, you know, it brings up the question, like, how often does this happen? Either way, now it's coming out that he was on that stuff that they're calling synthetic marijuana. I'm going to say this about that. And it hit me while I was listening to it, while I was reading it. They gotta stop that. They gotta stop calling this stuff synthetic marijuana. And I understand why it's being dubbed that way, because in this country there still is this stigma against actual marijuana. So they're trying to link these, like Robert Tendici jumping out a damn window, damn near killing himself. They're trying to link this stuff to marijuana by calling this stuff synthetic marijuana. And it has nothing to do, like, one has nothing to do with the other. You know what I mean? At all. From my understanding, this stuff is essentially, these kids are essentially smoking potpourri. If I'm somebody can correct me if I'm saying this wrong, but I think that's what I've seen on the news, that it's essentially potpourri, and they found out that, if I set it on fire, I'll get high, but I'll also start hallucinating, acting like a dude that's on some damn sherm or something. Things that don't happen, from my understanding, with marijuana. You know, full disclosure, I've never been high on weed or any type of illicit narcotic, you know, ever. So I only know from guys I've been around and people who I know who have smoked with. I'm not joking either. I'm not just making a joke. You know, I'm being serious. I've never been, and it's not for any sanctimonious reason. It's just that, you know, growing up as a husky kid having asthma and trying to play football, I already knew what it felt like not to be able to breathe, and I just didn't want to put no extra smoke in my body to keep me from playing ball. That's all. It wasn't because, like, ew, marijuana. Nah, never been that. And then as I got older, it just was never it was never something that I wanted to get into. You know what I mean? Like, going that long without it, whatever, I would drink. So that was my thing. Matt says if you YouTube salvia, like, something tells me if I YouTube it, it's gonna be some crazy, you know what? Like, this, it's not gonna be like educational. It's gonna be like some dude like naked and like taking a dump in his own shoe or something ridiculous like that. That's what that sounds like it's gonna be. Cause like Matt, one, like he didn't say Google it. He said YouTube it. So that just leads me to believe already that it's gonna be some unadulterated, straight up ignorance going on behind this stuff, like those bath salts and all this craziness. But my whole point is, like, don't believe. Stop letting people, like, pump, because that's all that stuff is. They pump that stuff into your ears so that you start associating one thing with another thing that has nothing to do with each other. It's not marijuana. Has nothing to do with marijuana. Marijuana is a plant that grows from the ground. This is, I don't know what it is. Some sort of stuff that you would use to have your house smelling good, I'm guessing. And, again, and I know who it is. It's white kids. Because I have a theory, and it's been backed up by my white homies too, that there's no such thing as too high or drunk for white boys. That's why in the hood, the term is white boy wasted. That means you can't get no more drunk than that. It's like the pinnacle of being drunk. Like, usually it ends up with, like, some alcohol poisoning, hospital type stuff if you're a white guy. You think that's racist all you want to, but I've personally seen things that bear that out. You know what I mean? Like, at one point they was talking about, you gotta guard your air conditioner unit at your crib, not because people were stealing them, because white kids, like, people would look out the window and see these white kids out there huffing the Freon out of people's air conditioner unit. Come on. And what's that other stuff called? Crocodilia? The stuff that eats your body, like, literally. Like, you could, like, it was on Drugs Inc. You could see the person's bone from the outside of their body because the drug is eating through their skin from the inside out. And all that to just get high. Like, look, because if that's what high is, I'm good. Yeah. I don't have no problems in my life that I have to escape from that quickly and that badly. Nah, if that's the case, I'm just going to end it, because I'm just going to go somewhere and jump off something or take a bunch of aspirins or whatevers or put the chrome to the dome. If the problems get that bad, because that's some suffering. That's you know what I mean? It's eating through your body, inside out. Huh. Anyway, so tonight, when I win this $1.5 billion, I already got one of the richest dudes in the world, at least in the country, trying to tell me what to do with it. Okay? Here's Mark Cuban's 6 things that you guys that I should do. Screw y'all when I win this Powerball. First of all, I should hire a tax attorney. That goes without saying. Like, you idiots that feel like the first thing you're going to do is go buy out the Hummer dealership, you're an idiot. He says, don't take the lump sum. You don't want to blow it in one spot. Look here, not your boy. I won't. Yeah, give me the lump sum and let me worry about that. Especially when we're talking about $1.5 billion, where they still gonna give you like what, like 800 mil? Yeah, there's no one spot in the world. Like, if you blow that, like, you can't even blow that on all the strippers in the world. You have to, like, wait till the new strippers are born and then grow up. You know what I mean? And then they have new little strippers that grow up again to blow all that money. And then, salvia is in the sage family. People smoke it and go crazy trip. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like, if you're gonna show me a video of that, Matt, I'm reading Matt's comments in the chat room. You guys can join in too. I got about 20 minutes left in the show at One Mic with Big Mike from Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app. Matt, what are you on? Oh, Matt's on. He's on the phone. He's on the Android. It tells me where you're tweeting from, or tweeting where you send me messages from. Okay, but I'm still saying it's not gonna be like an instructional video, right, of how to do it properly. It's going to be a video of people going crazy and doing weird, ignorant stuff on these drugs. Yeah, as you say, similar to bath salts. Like, dudes was eating dudes' faces off on bath salts. Like, why do I want to be that high? You know what I mean? And then after I see that, why do I want to try this for the first time? Like, man, that dude ate that dude's face off. I got to get some of that. No, that's the last thing. I might kill you if you try to give me some. Be honest with you. If it's going to make me eat a dude's face off. Mark Cuban, he says, if you weren't happy yesterday, you won't be happy tomorrow. It's money. It's not happiness. You a lie. You a lie. And let me tell you something. The truth definitely ain't in that. And all that. That's like fortune cookie crap. Money can't buy happiness. Let me worry about that. Just go ahead and give me the 1.5 billion. I'll worry about that part. Number 4, if you were happy yesterday, you're going to be a lot happier tomorrow. Wait, that kind of negates what you said in number 3. It's money. Life gets easier when you don't have to worry about the bills. Well, yeah, which is why I'm going to be happy. What is he talking about? And sometimes, man, when I hear rich people talk, I started thinking to myself, like, were you just lucky? Because, you know what I mean? And I watch Mark Cuban on Shark Tank, and he really, like, he's one of the more insightful dudes on that show. Like, I think they all have a certain level of insight, but I think he's one of the more insightful ones. And when he talks to the people who are pitching their ideas and stuff, he a lot of times gives them the best constructive criticism on their product, whether he buys in or not. But this, nah. And one thing I do know, Mark Cuban didn't win no lot. He didn't win no $1.5 billion. I mean, he created some stuff and it came to him that way. But like, I think this kind of stuff that you need to have happen to you. Like from like me, like coming from being a very low thousandaire to a billionaire. Yeah, I'm still that kid from Decatur, but I'm not that kid from Decatur. I'm not that. Like, matter of fact, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the strip club and just buy the club. Nah, not me. I ain't even going there. Nope. Like, especially now, dudes is getting murked at the strip club. Like, I remember when I saw that first happen, I was like, since when? Like, that used to be the place where everybody was cool. Everybody was cool with each other then. Now dudes is getting, like, it's naked women running around and you mad about something? Yeah. Things in the A done changed, man. That's why, man, I'm too old to fool around with it, man. I'm too old. You know, I pay a lot of money every month in this mortgage for this crib. I'm fine right here. Got Netflix around us, cuz. Got big TVs. Yeah, I'm good. I ain't got to go out and find myself in no precarious situation dealing with no fool who wanna prove something to somebody else. Good. All right, what else does Mark Cuban have to say? Tell all your friends and relatives no. Got no problem with that at all. I'm the no man. You understand me? That's one of my favorite words. They will ask, tell them no. If you are close to them, you already know who needs help and what they need. You damn right. My mama, my dad, my sister, and my niece. Yeah, the rest of these clowns, yeah, who I don't ever speak to, yeah, they gonna hear this here. Yeah, bounce. Bounce, cuz that's one thing that you won't do to me. I won't feel guilty about being richer than you. You know, that thing that people want to do to you? Like, oh, look at you. Now you think you're all that now that you got it. You're right. I do. I do. Yeah. What else did he say? Blah, blah, blah. Feel free to help some, but talk to your accountant before you do anything. And remember this, no one needs $1 million for anything. No one needs $100,000 for anything. Anyone who asks is not your friend. Yeah. He should put that on a t-shirt. Anyone who asks is not my friend. Matter of fact, I might do that. Give me a personalized joint with that on it. You don't become a smart investor when you win the lottery. You don't make investments. You can put it in the bank and live comfortably forever. You will sleep a lot better knowing you won't lose money. I'm all about that life too. Like, I'm not even trying to leave my crib right now. You know, I love where my crib is. It's not even close to the highway, so no one just stops by my house. You know what I mean? Like, you have to purposely come here to come to my crib, and I like it that way. I don't know why they pop up I don't even answer my door. I don't have no peephole, none of that, because if my doorbell ring, I know you coming. That's why UPS and FedEx and all those people, they have like the tracking thing on there. You feel me? Where you know they coming that day. Not your boy. I don't go to the door when my doorbell ring. I don't know who out there, and I don't live in no hood or nothing, but you know, anything's possible. I'm always the person that says, if you a good criminal, you ain't gonna stay in the hood and steal and do your dirt. You gonna go to places where people got something. Now, I don't have a lot, but I got more than some and a whole lot less than a bunch of others. So yeah, that's what Mark Cuban says about my lottery winnings. Probably about half of them, half of the 6 I can get with, especially that no one. Yeah, the one where you say no to everybody. Yeah, I'm all about that. Mike, can I get 100,000? No, because you don't need no damn 100,000. You just want to stop working, and then when that run out, you're gonna come ask for some more. No. I can't wait till the night when I win this money. You think I ain't like? I usually don't do shows on Thursday. Yeah, it'll be my last one forever. Nah, I'm lying. I like being able to express my thoughts on things, but those thoughts will change. It's like Jay-Z from the Reasonable Doubt album to the Black album. You know, things just like change clothes and all that kind of stuff. Without, yeah, this would be a totally different movement for your boy. Be a whole lot of different stuff to talk about. Vote for Trump. Never. That'll never happen. You'll never hear that come out of my mouth. You can pump me with the most potent dope there is. Never hear that come out of my mouth. All right, for the last 10 minutes of the show. Okay, the national championship in college football happened on Monday, right? I was impressed. I had a good time watching that game. I saw real. This wasn't no average college football game, and it shouldn't have been. I saw real college and potential professionals do work. You understand? I saw a real coach, and I saw a child pretending to be a coach. Nick Saban versus Dabo Swinney. You know, a dude who got mad at everybody else because he was ill prepared. He didn't self-scout, as I like to say all the time. And then Nick Saban got over on him with a nice onside kick, and it was important. You know, for many reasons. Then people talk about like the defense being tired and, you know, needing to capture some momentum and all those, you know, nebulous things. But the thing is, what you want to do, if you're Nick Saban, the best player on the field that night, it wasn't Derrick Henry. It was Deshaun Watson, the quarterback for Clemson. You gotta do everything you can to not allow him to affect the ball game. And you know where he doesn't affect the ball game? Special teams, defense, where you got O.J. Howard going crazy. Like they act like Clemson. I mean, act like Alabama didn't even have a tight end. Like that dude didn't make no amazing catches. He just made the catches and ran his ass off every time. And then there was the kickoff return. That back-breaking kickoff return. Like, these are all things that Deshaun Watson can't touch. And had they not happened, Clemson wins that ball game. It's what I was talking about on Monday when I was kind of like giving my thoughts on the game. I felt like that kid is special enough, and he would make enough plays against that Alabama defense for them to win the game. And I felt like what happened with Derrick Henry was going to happen. He's good. He's a good enough player, right? He had like a couple of good runs, but for the most part, they bottled him up. I didn't feel like Jake Coker was going to be able to duplicate the performance he had in the semifinals game, which he didn't. You know, the O.J. Howard plays aside, they didn't do nothing in the passing game. So all those things came to fruition. The pass rush for the Clemson team, that kid Shaq, God, what is his name? What is that kid's name? Shaq Lawson, playing on a sprained MCL with a brace on. The other kid that was playing DN for them, they was getting like mad pressure, but for whatever reason, their secondary was like, you know what, F that tight end. We ain't studying him, and he just broke 200 yards. Dude ain't scored a touchdown in 2 years. Had 2 in this game and 200 yards to boot. Yeah, that's how that game played out. But for the most part, I was all about that life. I enjoyed watching that football game. Now the problem is that it was pretty much a regional football game. Now it was played where was it? At the University of Phoenix Stadium out west. But you can't ask nobody in Pac-12 country to care about that game. You know, it's two teams that are within, I don't know, you think about 100 miles of each other, Alabama and Clemson, South Carolina, or Tuscaloosa and Clemson, South Carolina. Yeah, nobody outside of this region really care about that game that much, and the ratings showed it. You know, they didn't rate well, going along with the theme for the rest of the bowl season. And then Nick Saban talked about how it is a challenge. You know, you want people to feel like these bowl games are important, but they not. And the important game, you got to wait another 11 years. The first two, I should say, happened on New Year's Eve when people just trying to go out and get drunk and party and do all that kind of stuff. And then 11 days later, when you should have a better crowd, people are kind of saturated and over it at that point. Especially if it's not their team or a team that they care about, and there aren't any particular juicy storylines within it. Oh, Nick Saban wins another championship. We've read that story already. Yeah, whatever. Here's the other thing. Like, for all that crying and hollering, we need a playoff. It's the second year of the playoff system. We still got exactly what we would have gotten anyway. Inevitably, like, we didn't get it last year because Ohio State surprised everybody. Okay, fine. But this year, okay, the best two teams in college football And it wasn't even close. The semifinals game told you that. It wasn't even close. Michigan State and who was the other team? I don't even remember who the fourth team was, to be honest with you. Yeah, it doesn't even matter. You had the SEC, you had the Big 12. I don't even know. It doesn't matter. Yeah, everybody got the doors blown off of them, and you ended up with 1 and 2. Same thing you would have gotten out of the BCS anyway. And that was my point at the very beginning. Like, this ain't going to change nothing. And second of all, my point was proven last year as well, where the best team doesn't necessarily win the championship. It's the team that's the hottest at the end. You're going to see it this year in the playoffs with the NFL stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if the Seattle Seahawks win the Super Bowl. They hot, man. You know what I mean? And they fought for wins over and over again. Now, there was that debacle against the Cardinals, but, you know, it happens. Cardinals are a badass football team. They hot, too. And they hot at the end. And relatively healthy. You know, other than the Honey Badger, they pretty healthy. So, you know what else came out? And this happened as I was ending the show. Sierra was singing the national anthem, right? And, you know, again, my whole moral thing is off and broken. I don't see things the way a lot of other people see things when it comes to that realm of thinking. But so Sierra's singing the national anthem, and she has like a gown on, what looks to me like a very classy, you know, gown for a woman. It has a plunging, what do you call plunging neckline, but it's not just like skin, it's sheer, so you can see through it. And she's at best, her best day, she's a B cup, right? So we ain't talking about like Amber Rose up there with like, you know, a spaghetti strap on or nothing like that. But for whatever reason, like Bonnie Bernstein and Jason Whitlock felt that it was inappropriate because she was singing the national anthem. First of all, I'm totally against the singing of the national anthem at football games and baseball games and all that stuff. I don't see the reason for it. You know what I mean? And I've looked it up and I figured out why it happened. It started happening like to honor the troops in World War II and all that kind of stuff. But now it's just like a formality. It just happens. No one thinks about anything other than, you know, let's get to the football game. Even to the point where, like, when you're doing it in Kansas City, almost said something else. In Kansas City, they interrupt when the part where you say the home of the Braves, they holler out Chiefs. Is that showing any type of reference for the song? Which I don't think it should be anyway. That, the Pledge of Allegiance, none of that stuff was written with me in mind. You know what I mean? The land of the free. Yeah, my great-great-granddaddy was in shackles. It wasn't the land of the free for his black ass. But I digress. But nah, this whole like Bonnie Bernstein's like, oh, she's out there and that's so disrespectful. And then Jason Whitlock jumped on it as well. It's like, and then they talked about it today on Colin Cowherd's show, and the chick that does the news for him, Christine, whatever her name is, the blind girl. She called them dudes out. Or call him out because Colin wasn't on it. She was like, "Yeah, you slut shaming, cuz. Like you're punishing this girl for a part of her body showing. Like we live in some sort of what's it called, Islamic State or something where she got to have a burqa on." And she made the point that I always make, like chicks go out there with shorts on or tight jeans on. Like, what's the difference? Second of all, dude, it's a female. It's her body, man. It ain't like a Janet Jackson thing where she was sitting out there with her nipple out or nothing like that. She just had a damn gown on. It's like people take their lives way too serious. It's like, if that's a big deal to you, yeah, I feel for you, man. If that's your thing, and maybe it's what I was talking about on Monday. Maybe it's just not. It's her profile now, man. And maybe it's a good thing that people care enough about who Sierra is to. And first of all, and then second of all, white people. Listen to me. If you listen to this show, spread this to all your white friends. If you're black and you're listening, tell them to stop calling that girl Ciara. The girl's name is Sierra. Which tells me that none of these people have heard her music. She even says it. My name is Sierra for all the fly fellas. Like, no one's heard that song. They just know her being linked to Russell Wilson. Like, that's her. That's who she is. She's Russell Wilson. She's not an R&B singer. She's not a pop star or any of those things. She's Russell Wilson's girlfriend in white America. And I guess maybe it's cool, but I mean, I don't remember people's names a lot, rarely. But what I try to do all the time is say people's names, right? Like my guy Alec, right? Like when you meet Alec, you think his name is Alex, and it should be Alex. But then he says, no, it's Alec with a C, A-L-E-C. And so then every time after that, if I heard someone call him Alex, I'm like, no, douchebag, it's Alec. Like, I correct people, like, with an attitude because I'm that dude. It's like, say that dude's name right, man. Respect that person enough. And don't say, like, yeah, it's like Alex or something, whatever. Don't be disrespectful. You know what I mean? In that realm. Like, if he deserves it, okay, then cool. But if not, just be a freaking human being, man, and stop acting like, you're better than somebody else and disrespecting their name and all that. All right, let me make sure I got everything out of the way. That's important. I didn't get to talk about Jim Harbaugh, the weirdo, that he's planning to spend the night at some high school kicker's house and follow him to school to make sure that he doesn't go to Penn State. That dude is the epitome of weirdness. What? You know what? This is the thing too. Like, yeah, he's white. He's what they say, he has the protection of his complexion. That's the case. But then too, he wins ball games though, man. Like, he get results and all the quirkiness and the dumbness and the weirdness. He told this dude, asked his mama like if she still want him to go to school on signing day. He want to go with him. He's such a weirdo. Anyway, man, that's gonna do it for the night, man. This Hump Day edition of Hump Day edition of One Mic with Big Mike is over. You guys make sure you keep up with me on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1 MIC WITHBIGMIKE and on Facebook at ONE MIC WITHBIGMIKE. Keep your eyes and ears open for details on how you can win these snapback hats I got. All you gotta do is guess, man. Just tell me who you think is gonna win this Super Bowl 50, and then I'll pick a name or two or three, how many ever I feel like. I'll let you guys know if you won or not, and I'll ship you out some of these fly hats I got for you. Other than that, see you guys on Friday for the last show of the week. Hopefully something interesting will happen between now and then, other than the Hawks getting it pushed away. Is that 64-95? Let me see what Dominique has to say about this. I'll holler at you guys on Friday. Have a good one.